there, it's Kelly from Silly Moon Quilting Co. I'm just going to show you what I've been working on here tonight. Been playing with charming. This is our little charm pack ruler, so if you're using charm squares, this is the perfect little ruler for you. Everything I've done on this quilt, as far as quilting, I've used charming. And I'm not going to show you how I did all of it because it gets a little bit repetitive, but I am going to show you just how I achieved these two different looks. So you can see this pattern here and then this pattern here, which ended up, if you put 4 blocks together, you get this lovely flower pattern. So I'm just going to show you how I did that. Just a quick little video for tonight. And here we go. So enjoy. So when you look at charming, you'll notice that there's markings on each side. That will line up on your seams after you've pieced your 5-inch block or your charm square together. And what I'm doing to do this in the coral color here is I'm using these lines to give me 3 different arcs, so that will space them a 1/4 inch apart. So I'll just show you how I do that. So I'm going to line up this line here on my seam, and I'm going to line up this bottom line on my seam as well, and then I'm simply going to stitch that around. And the joy again of ruler quilting is you can have your quilt going whichever direction you want. And I do have the sticky tape on there, which is the sticky tape that comes with all of our rulers. And then that will take you right back to the corner of your charm square. So I'm just going to now move this down one line here and line up my side lines again. And then I'll stitch over to my ruler, and then I'll come back up and around. And just making sure I stay tight to the ruler. And then I'll go down one more line, and again making sure my side lines are lined up, and come back to the ruler again, and that takes me back to there. So as you can see, that creates a repetitive motion, and then when you get it together like that, you can see that it's a nice pretty little design on there. So super quick and easy. Now I'll show you the other one. So the advantage too with charming, of course, is this space in between here is the exact space that your charm squares will be distance-wise if it's been pieced correctly. So it makes it easy for stitching in the ditch. Again, we're going to line up our lines. And I didn't quite stitch there, so I'm going to stitch back a little bit into that point. And then I'm going to come all the way back down this side and stitch in the ditch. And if your piecing's not quite accurate, you can move this a little bit and adjust where you need to be so that you're still stitching in the ditch, but that will stop you right when you get to the other end at the end of your 5-inch square. So now I'm going to show you how I did the green part here. So if you'll notice on charming, there's 2 different marks here. If you put that at an angle, that will give you 90 degrees. So I'm going to stitch up here a little bit, again using charming, my straight edge. And I'm going to use these 2 lines to get right there in the corner. Now I know I need to go a little bit further. So I'm going to use that, and if you can see there, hopefully that shows up. I've got this on the 90-degree line here. So I've gone a little too far. So I'm going to just go back to my ruler. And once I'm on that ruler, I'm going to hold on to my ruler again, fairly snug, but not overly tight. And then I'm going to stitch around it to my next seam. And if you have to stop and adjust your fingers, that's better than going off the ruler. And then, so I'm going to stitch that to the seam. Now I want to echo this line here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this edge of my ruler on the line that I just stitched. So I'm going to take a couple stitches forward, and I'm going to put that ruler, take one more, and I'm going to put that ruler on my stitch line that I just stitched. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm snug against the ruler, and I'm going to go back the other way. And again, you can reposition your hands, and you'll find that you may want to do this in front of the foot or behind the foot, you may find it works differently for you, better. And I've done, as I've done on these other ones, I've stitched 3 lines. So I'm going to go back a couple more stitches and line up again on the one that I just did, the row that or the thing that I just stitched. And I'm just going to try to make sure that this line is still facing towards the center there. That gives me a good place to be. And then I go back around again and stop if you have to. That's totally fine. And then I'm back to my seam again. So that gives me one section of this design here. So then I'm just going to stitch up a little bit here so that I can do the next one. And again, I'm using Charming as my straight edge, so I'm getting a nice stitch in the ditch there. And then I'm going to come down to the next corner and line up my lines again on here. And then come down to it. And then you start the same process over again. Back to the line. And then, of course, you'll just echo that out. And you'll come back, and once you do this in different blocks, these will meet up. So the lines that I've done on this one here will meet up with the line that I just stitched. So then I'm just going to take my phone out of here and show you. So then you end up with lines like this that end up meeting. And I wanted this done differently, different patterns, because I wanted to show off Charming, but also because then when you'll see the whole quilt, once I post it, you'll see that it just adds a little bit of different texture to make the different blocks stand out, because there is a bit of a pattern to it. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, let me know, message me, email me, give me a call. And like I said, everything you're seeing done here is done with Charming, our little 5-inch ruler. Thanks so much and have a great night, everyone.